Some of the problems that people often fall into with those personas is that they don't include the digital marketing implications, that they're very focused on traditional marketing practices, and they don't really keep in mind all of the different digital aspects and how those digital types of marketing efforts can play a role in those personas as well. We'll talk more about that quite a bit throughout this presentation. Another common problem with traditional personas is that they don't account for change. If we think back to marketing is always changing, we know that, but those traditional types of marketing, billboards and radio and newspapers and trade magazines, in general, they change a lot slower. Whereas digital marketing, when we're doing email marketing, social media, SEO, content writing, they tend to change a lot faster. There's a lot more change happening on a rapid basis. And so personas, in order to be effective, need to be able to account for that change. By far, though, the biggest challenge with personas, especially traditionally built personas, is data. Data not being adequate, data not being fresh, not being based on data at all, just being based on intuition and things like that. All of those things can play a huge role in making sure that your personas are effective. And if you aren't having data heavily involved in the creation of your personas, they often aren't doing what you want them to do. That's one of the biggest things we've seen from various studies, kind of insinuates that as well. That same study before, the B2B partner study, said that 72% of ineffective personas were created from existing data rather than brand new research. This is something that we see from talking to people as well. Oftentimes when people are unhappy with their personas, it's because either they were developed recently, but not in the most data-backed way, or they're old and the data that they're based on is out of date. Other things that can be challenging for personas is if they're not being used. Maybe you have these really great personas, but they aren't really being implemented throughout your organization and throughout your marketing practices.